If you're thinking of moving to Rhode Island and want to live near the water, but you're not exactly sure where you want to live, there's a pretty good chance that you're considering Barrington and Bristol, Rhode Island. Even though they're relatively close, they offer two completely different lifestyles for two different types of people. I've lived in this area for my entire life, so I've wanted to give you a local's perspective on these two different towns, Barrington and Bristol, Rhode Island. After helping thousands of families from all over the place and all different walks of life, I feel like I've gained a pretty good perspective. Let me save you time researching online, flying around, driving around, and let's break down these two towns, Barrington and Bristol, Rhode Island. My name's Matt Antonio, and I'm the owner of Chart House Realtors. We've helped thousands of families relocate to Rhode Island, to the Ocean State, a place we love and call home. We've got great 5-star reviews online and would love to help you too. Whether you're looking at a single family house, a multifamily investment property, a condo, or a piece of land, we've got the experience and the drive to help you figure it all out. So whenever the time comes, shoot us a message, info@charthouserealtors.com, and we'll chat. So let's start breaking down the differences between Barrington and Bristol, Rhode Island. When you think about New England coastal living, you think about amazing seafood, boats sitting on moorings in the harbor. You think about classic New England architecture. And honestly, Barrington and Bristol, they both have that. So when you're investing in real estate, a place to call home for probably a long time, maybe not, but either way, that old adage your parents probably told you about real estate, location, 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 is totally true. And you need to know a little bit about each of these towns in order to figure out what's best for you. Let's break it down. So Barrington's probably a little easier to get in and out of, especially if you're commuting to places like Providence or Fall River and New Bedford, places you might work if you're in education or healthcare and things of that nature. Barrington, you kind of just shoot right out of town. You're on Route 114, which is the Wampanoag Trail, classic New England name, and you're right there in and out of Barrington and Providence. If you live in Bristol, you basically take the same route, but you've got this extra little stretch. There's really only two ways in and out of Bristol. It's Route 114 or it's Route 136. And they're both kind of single lane roads that get a little bit of traffic backing up. So if you're the kind of person where you don't like to see those red taillights in front of you and it just gives you anxiety, I'd say the commute from Barrington is going to be a heck of a lot more enjoyable than the commute from Bristol. One of the big advantages from a location perspective about Bristol is it's a small, geographically small community, but it has everything you need. Multiple grocery stores, hardware stores, hair salons, things for kids to do like gymnastics and swimming lessons and tennis and whatever else. But it's all right there in town, so you don't really have to leave. Like food, dining, entertainment, bars, shops, all of it is right there in town. So if you want to stay in Bristol and hunker down in Bristol, you really don't have to leave. Bristol also has great proximity to Newport. Newport's known as the city by the sea to a lot of people from all over the world. I mean, it literally has world-class sailing, boating, and then just an amazing entertainment scene with dining, entertainment, restaurants, shops, coffee shops. It's a really, really fun place to visit, not just in the summer, it's definitely busier in the summer, but all year long. It's a fun place. So Newport's a really fun place to visit, and it's a bit easier to get to from Bristol when compared to Barrington. So the vibe, like what it feels like to live in these two different towns, Barrington and Bristol, is pretty different. Like I would say Bristol has a much more, not just diverse type of housing, but you've got all kinds of people. Bristol is home to Roger Williams University, which I think a college town always creates an element that's different than places that don't have a college or university right in town. So you've got people from all over the place, young people going to get educated. You've got faculty, administrators, professors from the university that are all in town. And then you've got just a diverse mix of folks because Bristol has condos, Bristol has multifamily housing, they have apartment buildings, but then they've also got awesome single family neighborhoods and exclusive waterfront places like Papaquash Point with, amazing, beautiful waterfront estates with docks and their own private beaches and things. And it's all right in Bristol. So while Barrington has a lot of those same awesome amenities that Bristol has, it probably has, or it definitely has, fewer of them. A little, fewer options for dining, fewer options for groceries, hardware stores, salons, all of that stuff. Barrington has it, it just doesn't have quite as much of it as Bristol does. Its housing is a little less the type of housing, the mix of housing that Barrington has is a little less diverse than Bristol. Bristol's got condos, townhomes, apartments, apartment buildings, waterfront vibes, more urban vibes. Like, you can get a little of it all in Bristol, whereas Barrington tends to be a little more kind of status quo, single family, 4 beds, 2 baths. It's just the housing type is a little less diverse in Barrington than it is in Bristol. So since we're talking specifically about real estate, let's drill down a little bit more on the neighborhood. So I mentioned Papa Squash Point in Bristol. To me, that is like the creme de la creme. If you've got a multi-million-dollar budget and you are looking for an awesome estate style property, Papa Squash Point is, like, I think, one of the greatest places you could buy anywhere, never mind just in Bristol or just in Rhode Island. It's an awesome spot, but it's big bucks. Otherwise, you've got really cool coastal neighborhoods on the eastern side of Bristol, right on the Commute River. The Commute River is a great place to swim, water ski, kayak, fish, and there are amazing neighborhoods that run all along the Commute River with a more modest, reasonable waterfront budget. You don't have to spend millions of dollars to live on or near the water down by the Commute River. Downtown Bristol is amazing. So you've got classic old New England style architecture, beautiful big Victorian homes, usually smaller lots. Like, you're not gonna find many homes with like big backyards and that kind of thing, but it's all walkable. So if you wanna walk out your door and walk down just a block, you're gonna have a convenience store, you're gonna have restaurants, you're gonna have shops and things like that. And the town sits right on Bristol Harbor, so it's all just very picturesque. You've got views of the harbor, you've got boats on moorings, you've got ferries coming and going. It's just a really cool, quintessential New England vibe. So in Barrington, Barrington tends to get a little bit of this reputation of being like super swanky. It's one of the more expensive places to live in Rhode Island, and it certainly has that. You can be on Rumpstick Point, Adams Point, Nayet Point. Barrington's got these points that stick southerly into Narragansett Bay, and they're loaded with just gorgeous estate style properties on the water. And if that's your thing and you've got millions in the budget, those are awesome places to live. But those are frankly the few, not the many. Barrington has a bunch of other awesome neighborhoods, many of which are on or close to the water. You've got places like Rumpstick Village, Hampton Meadows, the Soames area, and more that are really, really fantastic neighborhoods if you're looking for that quiet, single family vibe. By the way, if you're moving to Rhode Island or Providence from out of the area, be sure to grab our free relocation guide. I'll put a link down below so you can grab it. It's an awesome resource, has all of our contact info in it too. So if you want to have a conversation, feel free to reach out, info@charthouserealtors.com. Grab that free relocation guide and check out all the awesome local insight we have to offer. Inside the relocation guide, we'll give you everything you need to know before moving here. A breakdown of the area, things to do, the different neighborhoods, and way more. So make sure you download the free relocation guide located in the link below. So who should and shouldn't live in Barrington or Bristol, Rhode Island? Barrington shoulds, definitely people seeking an awesome public education experience. So that means, in many ways, families, people with children, people who want a little bit more of a luxury vibe, but on a reasonable budget when you compare it to similar towns outside of Boston or New York. And people who want a quiet, more peaceful type of lifestyle, Barrington's on the should. Who shouldn't? People who want, late night entertainment right out their door. Barrington's not the town for you. People who are looking for a more diverse mix of housing types. If you want an apartment or a condo or, living in more of a multifamily environment, you're not gonna find a lot of that in Barrington. All right, for Bristol, who should live in Bristol? Definitely people who enjoy that quintessential, quaint New England town on the harbor with dining, bars, entertainment, shops, all of those things, but in that classic, quaint New England vibe. People who wanna live on the water, but maybe for a little softer budget than what you might find in Barrington. You can get awesome places in these neighborhoods, like I mentioned, on the eastern side down by the Commute River for a much more reasonable price than you'd probably find in Barrington. People who want the experience of living in a college town, you get that amazing mix of educators, faculty members, young people, there to learn, and it just creates this awesome melting pot of people that you run into on the street in town all the time. So who shouldn't move to Bristol, Rhode Island? Maybe folks who want a little more yard space. The properties in Bristol definitely tend to be a little smaller, a little less green space. There's awesome public spaces like Colt State Park, which is hundreds of acres of waterfront land for everyone to enjoy. But if you're looking for a bigger backyard of your own around your house, Bristol might not be the best place for you. Or people who commute to Providence and don't want to be in the car in traffic. You've only got 2 ways in and out of Bristol if you're heading to Providence, and those roads do tend to back up a little bit during commuter hours. So with all that said, which city would you live in? Bristol or Barrington? Personally, I've lived in Barrington for a long time. I've been raising my family here, and I love it. But I also love Bristol and often think to myself when my kids are done with their school program and that kind of thing in Barrington, Bristol is a place that I would love to move to. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Either way, both towns are great. It just depends on your preferences and what you're looking for. You love living in either place, just a matter of finding the right match. So if you're looking to buy real estate in either town or anywhere in and around Providence, Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts, my team and I would love to help you. Feel free to reach out. info@charthouserealtors.com. Whether you're 2 months or 2 years out, we get emails and inquiries from people just like you all the time. We love having those conversations. Feel free to reach out, info@charthouserealtors.com. So before you leave, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out in the link below my video about the things I love and maybe some of the things I don't love about living in Barrington, Rhode Island after 25 years. See you at the next one.